The single most powerful ability you possess isn't wealth, status, or intelligence. It's the quiet, almost invisible choice you make in the split second after life hits you with something unexpected. Picture this scene. It's the dead of winter, somewhere near the frozen frontiers of the Roman Empire. The most powerful man on earth sits alone, wrapped in a coarse wool cloak, his breath visible in the frigid air. He's not strategizing military campaigns or reviewing tax ledgers. He's wrestling with something far more elusive, his own mind. Marcus Aurelius understood a truth that most people spend their entire lives running from. Peace doesn't come from controlling the world around you. It comes from accepting what you cannot change. This isn't dusty philosophy from a forgotten era. It's a practical survival skill for the chaos of modern existence. What if the very thing you've been fighting against your whole life is actually the key to your freedom? He wrote that the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts, not your bank account, not your social standing, not the approval of others, just your thoughts. Simple words, monumental implications. In this exploration, we're going to peel back the layers of Stoic wisdom and uncover a radical approach to living, the art of letting things happen. We'll see how resistance creates suffering, how acceptance creates peace, and how you can harness these ancient principles to navigate modern unpredictability with grace. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. If this resonates with you, there's one small thing I'd like to ask. Hit that subscribe button, stick with me through the entire journey, because by the end, you might just walk away with a completely new relationship to the chaos of your daily life. Now, let's get into the nuts and bolts. The Stoics built their entire philosophy on a single, razor-sharp distinction: what is within your control and what is not. This begins with your thoughts. Marcus and his intellectual kin believed that while you can't dictate the weather, the economy, or other people's behavior, you have absolute sovereignty over your own inner dialogue. Your mind is the one territory no one can invade without your permission. This is more than abstract musing. It's about constructing a mental fortress, a sanctuary that external events cannot breach. When you internalize this, you begin to see your thoughts not as passive reflections of reality, but as active architects of it. Let's examine what a single negative thought can do. It enters quietly, almost innocently. But then it replicates. It whispers that you're not good enough, that things will never improve, that the effort isn't worth it. Before you know it, your entire emotional landscape is painted in shades of gray. You carry that heaviness into every interaction, every decision. Conversely, a single empowering thought, a reminder of past resilience, a belief in your own capacity, can set off an equally powerful chain reaction. It fuels action. It draws people toward you. It makes the impossible feel merely difficult. What separates these two outcomes? The simple, conscious decision to engage with one thought over the other. The Stoics were obsessive about this. They didn't just stumble into mental clarity. They trained for it. Marcus Aurelius journaled relentlessly, not for an audience, but to dissect his own thinking. Each evening he would review his day, not with self-condemnation, but with surgical precision. What had he thought? What had he done? Where had his judgment been clouded? This practice wasn't about beating himself up. It was about clearing away the mental debris so he could face the next day with a sharper, more resilient mind. These thoughts aren't just ephemeral wisps. They have weight, direction, consequence. Becoming aware of them is the first step. Consciously guiding them is the second. But here's the crucial nuance. This isn't about suppressing the so-called negative thoughts. You can't bully your mind into peace. It's about engaging with those thoughts. interrogating them, and ultimately transforming them. It's a discipline, like building a muscle. It takes time, but the payoff is immeasurable. Let's put this into sharper focus with a thought experiment. Two people lose their jobs on the same day. One person is consumed by self-doubt. I'm a failure. I'll never find work again. This is the end. They retreat, paralyzed by fear. The other person, with a trained mind, sees the same event through a different lens. This is a shake-up, a chance to pivot. I've survived setbacks before. They update their resume, network, and approach the situation with curiosity. One person crumbles, the other grows. The difference isn't the event, it's the internal script. Realizing the power of thought is about recognizing that your inner monologue isn't just chatter, it's the blueprint for your life. As Marcus and his Stoic peers demonstrated, this is the royal road to genuine contentment. So start paying attention, catch those automatic negative assumptions, challenge them. Nurture thoughts that serve you. This simple, profound shift can alter the trajectory of your existence. But what happens when that negative thought feels completely justified? What if it's based on something undeniably true? That's where the second layer of Stoic wisdom comes in. Marcus Aurelius offers a sharp piece of counsel. When anything tempts you to feel bitter, think, this is not misfortune, but to bear this worthily is good fortune. This is a total inversion of our default mindset. It demands that we stop labeling events as purely good or bad, and instead view them through the lens of our response. Our default thinking is riddled with instantaneous value judgments. We see something happen and immediately stamp it with a label. Traffic jam? Bad. Promotion? Good. Argument? Bad. Compliment? Good. The problem is that these labels are almost always incomplete. They're driven by emotion, by habit, by cultural conditioning. The Stoic insight is that events themselves are neutral. It's our perception that turns them into swords or shields. What if the event you're calling a catastrophe is actually a training exercise in disguise? Think about a morning that starts badly. The alarm doesn't go off, you're running late, you spill coffee on your shirt. It's easy to declare today is awful. That one pronouncement sets the stage for a cascade of frustration. But what if instead you caught that thought mid-flight and rewrote it? Instead of today is a disaster, you could say, today is testing my patience. I have the opportunity to practice patience right now. The morning is the same. The experience is entirely different. One of the most practical Stoic techniques for this is simple interrogation. When a negative thought arises, don't accept it as fact. Put it on trial. Is this thought true? Is it based on evidence or emotion? Is it helpful? Suppose you have a difficult meeting and think, I'm incompetent. Interrogate that. Is one tough meeting truly evidence of lifelong incompetence? Or is it a single data point? This distance, this pause between thought and acceptance, is where freedom lives. Another potent tool is reframing. This is the art of telling a different story about the same facts. I failed becomes I learned what doesn't work. I'm stuck becomes I'm in a season of preparation. This isn't toxic positivity that denies reality. It's strategic optimism that acknowledges the difficulty, while also recognizing that your interpretation is never the only possible one. The Stoics understood that perception is a choice, and choosing a constructive narrative is an act of mental discipline. Gratitude serves as another transformative force in this process. It redirects your attention from what's missing to what's present. When negativity starts to take hold, force yourself to list 3 things you're genuinely grateful for. It doesn't matter how small. The shift in focus is immediate and powerful. Suddenly, your mental landscape has more color, more room to breathe. And finally, remember the bigger picture. The Stoics urged us to view our lives within the vast context of nature and the universe. You are a small part of something immense. This perspective, far from being diminishing, is freeing. It reminds you that your personal struggles, while significant to you, are part of a larger pattern. You don't have to carry the weight of the cosmos. You just have to handle your own response to it. What would it feel like to stop trying to control the uncontrollable and instead focus entirely on mastering your own mind? Now let's introduce another cornerstone of the Stoic practice, premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. It sounds ominous, almost morbid, but in practice, it's a powerful psychological tool for building immunity to shock and developing unshakable composure. Marcus would start his day by mentally walking through potential frustrations. Today I will encounter meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly people. Why would anyone do that to themselves? It seems almost masochistic, but it's not pessimism, it's inoculation. By previewing these difficult scenarios, he robbed them of their element of surprise. When they actually happened, and they always did, he didn't collapse. He had already accepted the possibility. He could respond with composure instead of reactive outrage. Think of it as a mental fire drill. You don't practice a fire drill because you're obsessed with fires. You do it so that if a fire happens, you don't freeze. You move. You act. Premeditation works the same way. You mentally rehearse the tough moments so that they don't catch you off guard. When your car breaks down, when someone criticizes you, when a project falls apart, if you've already visited that territory in your mind, you're not a victim. You're a prepared participant. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Let's apply this practically. Before a high-stakes conversation, a presentation, or any potentially stressful event, spend a few moments visualizing possible challenges. What if the technology fails? What if you forget a key point? What if the other person reacts negatively? Walk through these scenarios and imagine yourself responding with calm and competence. You're not hoping for these outcomes. You're simply taking away their power to derail you. By the time the actual event arrives, you've already done it in your mind. The edge of fear is blunted. There's another surprising benefit to this practice. It deepens gratitude. When you contemplate potential losses, you suddenly become aware of what you currently have, imagining the absence of your health, your family, or your stability can make you profoundly grateful for these things in the present. It's a dose of perspective that cuts through the fog of daily complaints. What if you could face your worst fear so completely that it no longer had any power over you? You can integrate this into your routine. A morning journaling practice where you list a few challenges you might face and your ideal responses. Or an evening reflection where you evaluate how well you handled the day's surprises. Over time, this builds a mental muscle that is less reactive, more resilient, and infinitely more peaceful. Marcus also left us with another profound teaching. Give yourself a gift, the present moment. This is the call to anchor yourself in the here and now, not in the haunting echoes of the past, not in the anxious whispers of the future. The Stoics believe that the present is the only realm where life actually occurs. The past is gone, immutable. The future isn't here yet, a blank canvas that your worry cannot paint. The only place you can truly act, think, and live is in this exact moment. If you're not here, then where are you? Think about how often your mind time travels without your permission. You're having a conversation with someone, but your mind is already at tomorrow's meeting. Or you're trying to relax, but your mind is replaying last week's mistake. This constant mental migration drains your energy. It prevents you from fully engaging with the person in front of you, the task in your hands, the beauty of the present scene. Living in the present also means loosening your grip on the illusion of total control. When you accept that you can't dictate outcomes, you're freed from the exhausting burden of trying. You can focus instead on what you can actually influence, your intention, your effort, your response. This acceptance is the gateway to serenity. One of the most accessible ways to cultivate this presence is mindfulness, not the commercialized app-based version. The raw practice of bringing your attention back to the breath, the sensations in your body, the sounds around you. It's a simple act, but relentless. The mind will wander. That's what minds do. The practice is the returning, over and over again. Mindfulness trains you to be less reactive. It creates a gap between stimulus and response, and in that gap lies your power. You become more attuned to your thoughts and emotions, but less consumed by them. You can observe the storm without being swept away by it. Gratitude also cultivates presence. When you genuinely appreciate something in this moment, the warmth of sunlight, the taste of your food, the smile of a friend, you are completely immersed. Gratitude is the ultimate present moment anchor. It pulls you out of abstract worry and into concrete experience. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. The Stoics believed in doing each action, no matter how small, with full attention. Washing dishes? Be fully there, not waiting for it to be over. Walking to your car? Notice the sensation of your feet on the ground. This isn't about turning every moment into a spiritual experience. It's about stopping the fragmentation of your attention. When your focus is unified, your life becomes unified. Let's also acknowledge the elephant in the room, technology. The smartphone is the greatest enemy of presence. It fractures your attention into 1,000 pieces, creating boundaries. No phone during meals, no screens before bed is not about being anti-technology. It's about reclaiming your agency over your own attention. What if you treated your attention as the finite resource it actually is? Marcus Aurelius, despite being the emperor of the known world, made time each morning to reflect on the simple privilege of existence. When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. This is not vague sentiment. It's a conscious choice to begin the day with appreciation. It sets the emotional temperature for everything that follows. Gratitude is a shift in attention, from scarcity to abundance. It's remarkably easy to notice what's wrong. But with practice, you can train yourself to also notice what's right. This balance is essential for mental health. It doesn't deny the difficulties. It contextualizes them. A practical approach. Keep a gratitude journal. Each day, write 3 specific things you're thankful for. They can be profound or trivial. The act itself rewires your neural pathways to seek out the positive. And expressing gratitude to others deepens relationships. A simple, heartfelt thank you can strengthen bonds and create a positive feedback loop. Gratitude also serves as an antidote to envy. When you appreciate your own life, you're less preoccupied with comparing it to others. You recognize that their journey is theirs, and yours is yours. This reduces resentment and fosters contentment. Research consistently shows that gratitude improves sleep, reduces stress, and enhances overall well-being. It's a fundamental pillar of a balanced life. In the context of Stoicism, gratitude is intimately linked to amor fati, love of fate. It's not just accepting what happens to you. It's embracing it. Seeing everything, even the painful things, as part of your unique path. This doesn't mean you seek out suffering. It means you don't waste energy wishing things were different. you transform the raw material of life into character. What if every obstacle you face is actually a gift in disguise, waiting to be unwrapped? As we bring this reflection to a close, we return to Marcus's core insight: the joy of life lies in the present, in the richness of what we have, and in the connections we cherish. Your thoughts are the architects of your reality. Your responses are the evidence of your growth. The world will continue to throw storms your way. That will never change. What can change is your relationship to those storms. You can learn to see them not as threats, but as invitations. To practice patience, to practice courage, to practice acceptance. Thank you for walking this path with me. If you're seeking more insights into living a balanced, meaningful life, explore the suggested video appearing on your screen right now. I'm deeply grateful you chose to spend this time here. Until next time, carry these principles with you. Embrace each moment with gratitude, and meet your challenges with the quiet strength of a trained mind.